Hi, I'm Nancy Logan. I work at Andover Public Library in Northeast Ohio, and I would like to speak about Thomas Paine today. Paine believed that revolution was justified because the monarchy was corrupt, abusive, and responsible for the inequities of society, notably unemployment and poverty. He promoted a republican form of government with an elected head and based on representative democracy. The elected government should aspire to encourage the individuality of its citizens even as they worked to pursue the common good, and that all people possess certain natural rights simply because they were human. Human rights originate in nature. Thus, rights cannot be granted via political charter because that implies that rights are legally revocable, and that would make rights nothing more than privileges. So I'd like to read a little bit from Thomas Paine, The Rights of Man, Part 2. Paine wrote about allegiance. The oath of allegiance in America is to the nation only. The putting any individual as a figure for a nation is improper. The happiness of a nation is the superior object, and therefore the intention of an oath of allegiance ought not to be obscured by being figuratively taken to or in the name of any person. All personal oaths ought to be abolished. They are the remains of tyranny on one part and slavery on the other. If a government requires the support of oaths, it is a sign that it is not worth supporting and ought not to be supported. Make government what it ought to be, and it will support itself. Paine wrote about paying monarchs. As extraordinary power ought not to be lodged in the hands of any individual, so ought there to be no appropriations of public money to any person beyond what his services in a state may be worth. It is inhuman to talk of millions sterling a year paid out of the public taxes of any country for the support of any individual and the service of any such individual in the routine of office, whether such office be called monarchical, presidential, senatorial, or by any other name or title, can never exceed the value of £10,000 a year. It can only be by blinding the understanding of man and making him believe that government is some wonderful, mysterious thing that excessive revenues are obtained. Monarchy is well calculated to ensure this end. It is the paupery of government, a thing kept to amuse the ignorant and quiet them into taxes. He wrote about revolution extensively. Revolutions, then, have for their object a change in the moral condition of governments, and with this change, the burthen of public taxes will lessen, and civilization will be left to the enjoyment of that abundance of which it is now deprived. He also wrote about social justice. Can we possibly suppose that if governments had originated in a right principle and had not an interest in pursuing a wrong one, the world could have been in the wretched and quarrelsome condition we have seen it? When, in countries that are called civilized, we see age going to the workhouse and youth to the gallows, something must be wrong in the system of government. It is, then, better that the lives of 140,000 aged persons be rendered comfortable, or that 1 million a year of public money be expended on any one individual, and him often the most worthless or significant character? Let reason and justice, let honor and humanity answer the question. And when it shall be said in any country in the world, my poor are happy, Neither ignorance nor distress is to be found among them. My jails are empty of prisoners, my streets of beggars. The aged are not in want, the taxes are not repressive. The rational world is my friend, because I am a friend of happiness. When these things can be said, then may that country boast of its constitution and its government. Paine also wrote about war. If universal peace, civilization, and commerce are ever to be the happy lot of man, it cannot be accomplished but by a revolution in the system of governments. All the monarchical governments are military. War is their trade, plunder and revenue their objects. What inducement has the farmer, while following the plow, to lay aside his peaceful pursuit and go to war with the farmer of another country? Or what inducement has the manufacturer? What is dominion to them, or to any class of men in a nation? Does it add an acre to any man's estate, or raise its value? Are not conquest and defeat each of the same price, and taxes the never-failing consequences? And he wrote about free speech. I have always strenuously supported the right of every man to his own opinion, however different that opinion might be to mine. He who denies to another his right makes a slave of himself to his present opinion, because he precludes himself the right of changing it. Remember, this was in a time when free speech was still repressed. I learned about Thomas Paine from a movie that he produced called To Begin the World Over Again. He wrote it and he acted in it. We showed it at the library last year, actually around election time. And we had quite an eclectic group of people. We had teenagers, we had senior citizens, and we had every walk of life. We had some great discussion after the movie. We had a great deal of questions that we got to toss around. And we all learned a whole lot. But the best part was the food. If you ever want to show Ian Ruskin's movie at your library, he provides a list of recipes that you can make that were period relative. And we had members of our library, patrons of our library, make some of those meals, and they were exceptional. So we ate before the meal, and that was fun. We also had several people in the area that are into Daughters and Sons of the Revolution. They came dressed in period attire, which added to the festivities. But if you do get a chance, check out Ian Ruskin's To Begin the World Over Again. It was a great movie and a great discussion platform. Thank you.